Here we are talking example 6.2. This example we have only collected those data for cost matrix and supply vector, demanding vector. First of all, we check whether or not the total supply equals to the total demand. And for the entries of the supply vector is 16 plus 10 plus 22, that equals 48. And when we check the demanding vector, the entries adding together is also 48. So in this way, we know in this example, we can apply the minimum cost rule directly. Okay, now if we look at the top the table we set up from this data, and we could find out that we start at the first row, right? For the first row that we have 16 units from the orange one, right? So here you could see that cell 11, cell 13, they have the lowest charge, that is $4, $4. So in this way we can choose, because they are the same, right? So we can choose either of them. You could start with the first cell 11, or you can start with cell 13. So here I start with cell 11. So in this way, you could see market 1, we only need 8 units of the commodity, right? So in this way, we put the 8 into cell 11. And then on the first row, we have another 8 remain, right? So the other 8, we put it into cell 13. Okay, now the first row is done. We move to the second row. To the second row, we know that 2 is the cheapest price. However, in the market 1, the column 1, we already full, right? We already have 8 there. So market 1 is done. So now we choose the second cheapest one, that is 3. So 3 in the column 3, you could see that we only in the market 3 only need 12 units, but we on the in the cells 1 3 we already have 8 there. So in this way, this column that market 3 only needs another 4. So then we put 4 into the cell 2 3, and then the second row we have 6 remain. In the next cheapest one is 9, right, compared to the 10. So we put the remaining 6 into the cells 2 4. Now in the column 4, you could see that market 4 we need 14 units. We already put 6 from the source 2. So in this way, the market 4 only need 8, right? Okay, now let's, because the second row is done, now we move to the third row. The third row is for the source 3, and source 3 have 22, and then 5 is the cheapest one, and in this column we didn't put any from source 1 and source 2. So here we can put 14 into this cell 32. And once we put the 14 in 32, then in this row we have 8 left, and this 8 left we can put it into the market 4, right? So put it into the cell 3 4. Now we finished our first tableau 1. When we finish tableau 1, then what we need to do is we are going to repeat the way find entering variable and departing variable, right? So to first find the values for the dual variables. Now for in the tableau, you could look at those. Um, well, we need the dual variables. You could see that all the dual variables v1, v2, v3, and w3, w4 all appears twice, right? Because whenever it is a basic variable xij, then we have vi plus wj equals cij. So in this way, we just simply set v1 equals 0. When we set v1 equals 0, you can easy to find out w1 equals 4. v1 plus w1 equals c11 equals 4, right? v1 0, so w1 is 4. And then w3 is also 4. And once we have w3 equals 4, we can find v2 equals minus 1 because what is x2, 3 is a basic variable. So v2 plus w3 should be 3. And v2 equals minus 1, then w3 equals 4. W3 equals 4, then v2 equals minus 1, right? Minus 1 plus 4 equals 3. Okay, once we get v2 equals minus 1, then we can find that w4 is 10 because v2 plus w4 equals 9, right? So in this way, we have w4 equals 10. When w4 equals 10, we can get v3 equals minus 4. And when we have v3 equals minus 4, we can get the value of the w2 equals 9. So far, we got all the values for all the dual variables. And now we are going to work on the departing variable. Now we work out that for each non-basic variable, we simply add vi plus wj, right? So x12 is a non-basic variable, so we add v1 plus w2 into that next to the cost 12. And then v1 plus w4 equals 10. v2 plus w1 equals 3, and v2 plus w2 equals 8. And v3 plus w1 equals 4 equals 0. Negative 4 plus 4 equals 0. And then for that, the last non-basic variable is x3, 3, right? So v3 plus w3 equals also 0. Now, then we check, we use that vi plus wj minus cij, right? That's zij minus vij. So that's 9 minus 12, negative 10 minus 11, negative 3 minus 2, oh, that's positive, that equals 1. And 8 minus 10, that's minus 2. Back to the row 3, 0 minus 8, negative, and 0 minus 11, negative. So in this way, we have only one positive, that zij minus cij in cell 21. So that means x21 should be emptying variable. And when we choose x21 be emptying variable, now we are going to work out the loop. And the loop is when we increase 1 in cell 21, that means cell 11 should reduce 1, right? We only work for those we have goes there, right? So C11 has 8, so we have to remove 1 from there. When we remove 1 from C11, then C13 should increase 1. When C13 increase 1, then cell 13 should remove 1. And when cell 13 move 1 plus 1 increase 1, sorry, that I got it wrong. So we increase 1 in that cell 21, then cell 1 1 should be reduce 1. When cell 1 1 reduce 1, cell 1 3 should be increase 1. When cells 1 3 increase 1, then cell 2 3 should be reduce 1. Then we connect with that cell 1 1 2 1, right? So that is the loop. I already read it there. And then you check that, okay, cell 1 1 need to reduce 1, and cell 2 3 should reduce 1. Compare the amount of commodity in those cells. You could see that 4 is is the small one, right? Smaller one. So in this way, x1, x2 3 should be departing. Okay, so now let's check if we save any money. So cell 1 1 reduce 1, so minus 4. Cell 1 3 increase 1, so plus 4. And the cell 2 3 reduce 1, so minus 3. And then cell 2 1 increase 1, so plus 2. Actually, if we shift 1 along this loop, then we will save $1. Then we have 4 of them. So in this way, we just work out 4 of them to all of them we can save for dollars, right? And in this part, we could cut. We also check that the total cost. The total cost actually equals what? 248. That we have 6 variables: x1 1, x1 3, x2 3, x2 4, x3 2, x3 4, right? So we work on the rest are zeros, non-basic variable. And now we can form the new table, and we will check the cost. So if we saved $4 there. Now when we make this one, we just put 0 to that cell 2 3, and then and 4 in that cell 2 1, and then adjust those amounts in cell 1 1 and cell 1 3. So this is the new table T2. And when we have T2, we do the same thing. We just set up v1 equals 0, because you could see that each dual variable at most appears twice, right? So we set v1 equals 0, then we get w1, w3 both 4. And then from the cell 2 1, we get v2 equals minus 2, and so that from cell 2 4, we get w4 equals 11. 11 plus that v2 plus w4 equals 9, and v2 equals minus 2, so w4 equals 11. When we get w4 equals 11, we can get v3 equals minus 5. When we have v3 equals minus 5, we can get a w2 equals 10. So in this way, we got the values for all the dual variables. Then we just, for non-basic variables, we add that vi plus wj, and then minus the cij, right? So here we just simply add that vi plus wj. So that v1 plus w2 is for that non-basic variable x1 2. In the cell 1 2, we put the sum of v1 plus w2 there. That is 10. And then v1 plus w4 is 11. v2 plus w2 is 8. That's in the cell 2 2. And v2 plus w3 in the cell 2 3, that is minus 2 plus 4, that's 2. And v3 plus w1 is minus 1, and v3 plus w3 is minus 1. Now when we check it, 10 minus 12, 11 minus 11, 8 minus 10, 2 minus 3, minus 1 minus 8, minus 1 minus 11. All of them are less than or equal to 0. So in this way, we reach optimal solution. In the optimal solution, C equals 2, 4, 4. So we have it at what? X11 equals 4, x13 equals 12, x21 equals 4, x4 or 24 equals 6, x32 equals 12, and x34 equals 8. Now let's see more example. So section 2.62.2 degeneracy. Now let's look at this example. The cost matrix is 4 by 4, and you could see we have what? Four sources and 4 markets, right? And now you first enter in find the basic solutions according to the minimum cost rule. And here, when we put into it just around the first start of row 1, and then you could find 2 is the cheapest one, so we put 70 into it, right? Put all the possible amount into it. So 70. Market 2 need 70 units. So we'll put 70 into the cell 1, 2, and we have 10 remain in the source 1, right? The first source. So that 10 we put it to the next chip 1, that's 3. So we'll put it into cell 1, 1. And now the first source, we already finished the distribution. Then we are move to the second one. The second one, 5 is the cheapest one, but the market 2 is already full. So we choose the second cheapest one is 6. The second 6, the first that's in cell 1, 1, cell 2, 1. Cell 2, 1 in the first column, you can see that market 1 needs 70, and we already put a 10 into there. And then the source 2 has 60, and market 1 needs 62. So in this way, we just fit into it there, right? We fit it into. And then for the second row is done. Now we are moving to the third row. The third row, 2, 1, 4, 3. So 1 is the cheapest one, but the market 2 and the market 1 all filled, right? All are filled. So in this way, we move to the 3. And the 3 we have 50 in the source 3, and the market need 80. So we put the 50 into cell 3, 4, and in the column 4, that market 4, we need another 30, right? Now the same one, we move to the first row. The first row, we have 100 in market 10, market 4, and the cheapest one is the 2, that's in the third column, and in the third column and it's market 4, that we need another 30, right? So we put 30 into the cell 4, 4, and then the rest 70 we can put it into cell 3, 4, 3, right? So in this way we finished it. And note here that the top row one we finished, but you could see how many basic variables: x11, x12, x21, x34, x43, x44. Totally 4 basic variables. And we notice that m equals 4. We have 4 rows. and n equals 4 as well. So m plus 4 minus 1 are the basic variable we require, right? But here we have only 6. 4 plus 4 minus 1 should have 7, but here we have only 6, the basic variables. So in this way, that means we have to settle one basic variable who has value 0. And then that means a route is used although no goods are being sent along it. Okay, so here, how may we set up another basic variable with 0 value? That is, we can settle those along the first column, because one, we set up a basic variable equals 0 so that we can evaluate those dual values. We can evaluate the values of the dual variables. We can along that first column or first row, or you can set up any of them. Then you want to connect those dual variables with the group over here. For example, here, if we do not have the dual that 0 value basic variable, you could see that if we settle that v1 equals 0, then we have that w1 equals 3, w2 equals 2. And then in this way we have v2 equals 6. But once we done this, we may not go further to find v3, v4, w3, w4. Here I have wrong writing here. That should be 4. Should be 4 here. Okay. So here we can set up a basic variable with 0 value. If, for example, here I set up it in the cell 3,1. So when I set up 3,1, I could connect with them. What I would do is, now you could see if I set up that x31 is a basic variable with 0 value, then this w1 appears 3 times more than others. So here I set w1 equals 0, then I have v3 equals 3, v2 equals 6, and v3 equals 2. Once I have v3 equals 2, then I can get w4 equals 1. When I get w4 equals 1, I can have v4 equals 1. So when we have v4 equals 1, then we can get w3 equals 4. So in this way, we get all the values of the dual variables. Of course, you understand that when we have v1 equals 3, then we have w2 equals minus 1, right? In the other way, we may also set up, you could see, if I set up cell to 2, okay, if I set up that basic variable in the with 0 values in cell 22, that x22 equals 0, then you could see we have it won't work out to find the values of dual variables v3, v4, w3, w4. But you may set up the dual variable. For example, you say, I don't want to sell the dual variable, no, I don't want to sell the basic variable with 0 values in the cell 3,1. Can I set up it to 3, 4,1? Yes, of course you can. You can do it. Okay, so it's quite flexible. You just need to set up a basic variable with 0 value equals 0 so that you can evaluate all the values of the dual variables. Just keep this in your mind. And whenever we have one less basic variables, one less basic variables, and we call this a degeneracy. Okay, that means a routine is used to send no goods there. Okay, and now once we set up u3 and no, once we set up x31 to be a basic variable with zero values, then we can work out the vi plus wj for those non-basic variables. Here, when we work out it, we found that for the cell 1, 3, v1 plus w3 equals 7, and 7, 4, 10, 7, and in the third row that the one that is 1 here, and in the cell 3, 3 that is 6, and the cell 4, 1 that's 1, cell 4, 2 is 0. Now we check that which one we should work on that. Now you look at that 7 minus 5 greater than 0, that's 2. So this one we need to pay attention. 4 minus 4, 0, and 10 minus 7 equals 3, or greater than that the one in cell 1, 3, right? So this one we want to pay attention. Then 7 minus 8 less than 0, and 1 minus 1, 0, 6 minus 2, 2, 6 minus 4, 2, and 1 minus 4 less than 0, 0 minus 3 less than 0, right? And so in this way, that 10 minus 7 is the largest positive value of that ij minus cij for non-basic variables. That means x23 should be ending variable. And when x23 to be ending variable, you increase 1 there, and then in this row you have to go to cell 21. So that cell 21 need to reduce 1, right? And the cell 21 reduce 1, that you can go up or down. Here I go down that I made that x31 because that's the one with 0 value. That one increase 1, and then that cell 3, 4, that one should be reduced 1. When cell 3, 4 reduce 1, then cell 4, 4 should be increase 1. When cell 4, 4 increase 1, cell 4, 3 should reduce 1. And when it reduce 1, we can back to cell 2, 3 that increase 1. So in this way, we made a loop, right? And when we make this loop, you could see that, well, we reduce 1 is cell 2, 1, cell 2, cell 3, 4, and cell 4, 3. And compare them that cell 3, 4 has 50, right, units, and that is a small amount. So in this way, we decide x34 should depart. And once we work out this ship 1 units make along this loop, let's see how much we can save. It's minus 6, right? Minus 6 plus 7 in the second row, and then plus 2 and minus 3 in the third row, and then plus 2 in the fourth row, and then minus 5. So totally equals minus 3. So that's the $3 we can save. Now we are going to make up this change, okay, to form the Tableau 2. When we form the Tableau 2, you could find out x11, x12, x21, x23, x31, and x43, x44 are basic variables. How many basic variables here? We have 7 of them. And when we have 7 of them, that's we don't have degeneracy here anymore, right? And with this one, we could see that W1 is the one who appears 3 times. So we settle W1 equals 0, then we have V1 equals 3, V2 equals 6, and V3 equals 2. And with V1 equals 3, we get W2 equals -1. And with V2 equals 6, we have W3 equals 1. And then when W3 equals 1, we can get V4 equals 4. And when we have V4 equals 4, we can get W4 equals -2. So once we work out this, we just turn to the non-basic variables, x13, x14, right? So we calculate V1 plus W3 equals 4, V1 plus W4 equals 1, and V2 plus W2 equals 5 for cell 2, and then V2 plus W4 equals 4 for cell 2, and then for the cell 3, that's V3 plus W2, that is 1, and V3 plus W3 is 3, and V4 plus W1 equals 4, V4 plus W2 equals 3. And now we check if there's any positive value with Zij minus Cij. And 4 minus 5, 1 minus 4, 5 minus 5, 4 minus 8, 1 minus 1, 3 minus 4, 3, 4 minus 3. And V3 plus W4 actually is 0. Okay, here we have to work on that. That's 0. So 0 minus 3 and 4 minus 4, 3 minus 3. You could see none of them is positive, right? So in this way, we reach optimal solution with C equals, when we calculate those basic variables, x11, x12, x21, x23, x31, and x3, 43, x44, and we got the cost totally as 940. So in this way, we solved this problem. You probably wonder, what if we choose another basic variable when we meet the degeneracy? Okay, now let's see. Here, when I choose that x22 to be the basic variable for the degeneracy, and that settle x22 equals 0 to be the basic variable, and you couldn't decide the values of v3 and v4, w3 and w4. In another way is that if I choose, for example, I choose that basic variable as x32 with value 0, then when we work out, we found that the cost is 1090. Of course, you can do the work. So in this way, when we set up x32 to be the basic variable with 0 value, then we found that the basic variables appears in rows or columns twice. That means dual variables at most appears twice, right? So in this way, we set v1 equals 0. And when v1 equals 0, that make we can find w1, w2 with equals 3 and 2 separately, right? And then when we have W1 equals 3, we can get V2 equals 3. And then with W2 equals 2, we can get from that cell 3, 2, we can get V3 equals minus 1. When we have V3 equals minus 1, we can get um, that W4 equals 4. And when W4 equals 4, we have V4 equals minus 2. When V4 equals minus 2, then W3 equals 7. So in this way, we find all the values for all the dual variables. And once we done this, we just simply work out those Zij minus Cij for non-basic variables. So for non-basic variables, we calculate those uh, Zij equals Vi plus Wj. That is for first row, cell cell 1, 3, that's 7, 4, and then in the second one, we have it is 5 here. Just so here you just I missed the 5 in the cell 2, 2. Okay, that's V2 plus W2 equals 5. Okay, now you just look at those we put in cell 2, 3 is 10 and 2, 4 is 7 and 3 cell 3, 1, 2 and cell 3, 3, 6 and cell 4, 1 is 1, cell 4, 2 is 0. And when we use that what we got ui plus wj in each cell ij for non-basic variables. We check that 7 minus 5 is 2, right? Okay, positive. 4 minus 4 is 0 and 10 minus 7 is 3. So this one is bigger than 2. So keep keep notice here, right? So then 7 minus 8 is negative, and 2 minus 2 is 0, and 6 minus 4, 2, less than 3. And 1 minus 4 is negative, and 0 minus 3 negative. So that we need to choose what? The cell 2, 3. That one, 10 minus 7 is the largest positive amount, right? So here we choose x2, 3 enter in and then make up the loop. And when we make up the loop, we found x3 is the one to depart. Okay, so in this way we can get the new tableau. When we get work on the new tableau, you could see this. We have x11, x12, x21, x23, x32, x43, x44 are basic variables, right? And the rest are zeros. So in this tableau, totally we have 7 basic variables, so we can work out the directory. And you could see that each dual variables appears twice, right? So in this way, we set v1 equals 0, and then we get a v2 equals 3, v3 equals minus 1, v4 equals 1. And w1 equals 3, w2 equals 2, w3 equals 4, w4 equals 1. And then we just, for those non-basic variables, we add Vij into it, and that's for cell 1, 3 is 4, cell 4, 1, 1, 4 is 1, and the cell that, 2, 2 is 5, cell 2, 4 is 4, and cell 2, 2, 3, 1 is 2, cell 3, 3 is 3, and the cell 3, 4 is 0. and we add all of them, then you just minus. You could find out none of them are positive, right? Less than or equal to 0. So in this way, we also reach optimal solutions, right? And now let's check the value. We just work out all the value that in cell 1, that cell 1 is 3 multiplied 60, right? And plus 2 multiplied 20 and 6 multiplied 10. We just write down all of this. We found that the value is 940. It's the same as we choose another, the x31 as a basic variable with the 0 values, right? The same value. So in this way, you could see the basic variables are different, but the cost is the same, right? The objective function has the same value, but we have different basic variables. That means we have multiple optimal solutions here that we can write it. The multiple optimal solutions for could be that c equals 940 at x1 1 equals 10, x12 equals 70, x21 equals 10, x23 equals 50, and x31 equals 50, and from that the top row 2, and x31 equals 50, and x43 equals 20, x44 equals 80. From this top row 5, and we have x11 equals 60, x12 equals 20, and x21 equals 10, x23 equals 50, and x32 equals 50, and x34 equals 20, x44 equals 80, right? So you probably say, how could I know multiple optimal solutions? You could check it whenever we set up a basic variable with 0 values. Just say when we have a degeneracy. Sometimes we have multiple optimal solutions, but if the question didn't ask you, you don't have to do it. You just find one of the optimal solutions there. Okay, this is about the dual and the degeneracy.